All right, people. What I'm trying to do is invite somebody, but I guess I don't know if I hope I ain't misspelled the email Gmail account. Let's see here. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if that so YBYBREIKA@gmail.com. So I don't know if I'm spelling it, misunderstanding the Y. This looked like an aura here. Well, I don't know. One of them got to be right. Yeah, one of them have to be right. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead on and get off into what I want to talk about. Because when I left here earlier, I was talking about how people get profits. I mean, they'll believe you fast if you tell them that they got healed, and this man prophesied to them and told them that they was going to be blessed less than 30 days. And my whole point is people will gravitate and they will believe that quicker. They will. But if you tell them that the laws and the statutes of, if you mention anything about commandments, you in trouble. You in their eyes, you're gonna be out the door. Because they ain't trying to hear that. No. I'm a living witness. I've been dealing with Christianity. Basically, I know how it operates because I was amongst Christian. I never was the type to rebel. I always had a mind that I was always curious. You know what I mean? So I never really, like tried to fight back when it came to biblical things. Like, for example, I was 17 when I was 17 years old. Somebody witnessed to me, an elderly lady witnessed to me and told me that according to the Bible, that God gave his laws to a people in the Bible called the nation of Israel. And he wanted them to be holy, and he wanted them to, like, the purpose of not eating the unclean animals was to be sacred. That's what was said. So that within itself, it made sense to me, and I was a seeker. I didn't fight against it at all. Never fought against it. I always had what was called an open mind. I always had that. I just did. So I want to give you an example of what I was talking about how people, when you tell them or warn them that all these things that you're eating, such as swine, pork, fish that does not have fins and scales, stuff like that. If you quote that to them, they're going to tell you, oh, that's Old Testament stuff. But in other words, they're going to find a problem with it. They're going to debate you. They're going to argue you. Right there, they're going to take the second thought and be like, oh, no, that's Old Testament stuff. But as soon as you tell them that you met a prophet and this man foretold your future, they ain't going to take no second thought. They ain't going to be like, oh, well, I don't believe that. They're going to follow it because most of the world wants to follow lies. Most of the world wants something that actually just that they can thrill and feel good. Because think about it, the average man and woman of color is poor. So we're going to be easily driven in by those things, you know what I mean? Especially the women of color, definitely. You know what I mean? They ain't studying about no commandments. None of that. No, that's too much like the commandments is more like it's too much it's too much like the wrong thing to them. And that which is corrupt and messed up, to tell them that it's wrong, they will take you warning them from a false information. They will take you trying to tell them that pork is bad they will take that as an insult, and to tell them that it's bad for them, even though the Bible condemns it, is too much like right. They're not going to want to hear that. Anything that's wrong, it seems like people gravitate to things that are more bad for them versus things that are good for them. And you tell them the things that's bad for them versus telling them the things that's good for them and the things that will harm them. It's too much like right. It's too much like the right thing, and they don't want to hear that. You see what I'm saying? So I want to give you a brief history of what I'm trying to convey here. Yeah. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways. Now, notice it keeps saying all thy ways, and to love him, and to observe the law, and to serve, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul. Why would it say with all your heart and with everything in your might and everything in your soul? Because when most people hear follow the commandments, that it's boring. It's like it's boring to them. You see what I'm saying? But if you tell them that prophets, beware of false prophets, right there, they're going to take the second thought and say that you're judging. You see what I'm saying? Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 1. Therefore thou shalt love the Lord thy God and keep his charges and his statutes and his commandments. And his judgment and his commandments always. And know ye that this day, for I spake not with your children, which have not known, and which have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles and his acts which he did in the midst of Egypt unto Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and to all of his land, unto all his land. Okay, now let me skip down to verse 8. Look what it says. Let me show you who he's talking to. And what he did unto the army of Egypt, unto their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how the Lord had destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness, until ye came unto this place, and what he did unto Dathan and Abiram, the son of Eliab, the son of Reuben. That's Jacob's firstborn of the 12 tribes of Israel. This was the firstborn Hebrew Israelite. What he did unto Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up in their households and in their tents and all the substance that was in their possessions in the midst of all Israel. Notice it's saying in the midst of all Israel. In the midst of all Israel. Now let me highlight that. He ain't coming back to save nobody but the Israelites. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments. See that? He said all Israel, and then he said all the commandments. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I commanded you this day, that ye may be strong and go in and possess the land, whether ye go to possess it. Now let's look at Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and their tents, and all the substance that was in their possession, in the midst of all Israel. And then verse 8, I'm just going to reread it. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I commanded you this day, that ye may be strong and go in and possess the land, whether ye go in and to possess it. Now, all the stuff that I just read, you walk up to the average person and tell them this is what we're supposed to be doing. You know what they're gonna tell you? You're gonna be in an argument. I promise. I promise to the Most High, they is going to argue you down. Especially if you tell them we're not supposed to be eating pork, you know what justification they're gonna use? Well, that's not in the Ten Commandments. Just like homosexuality wasn't written in the Ten Commandments. It's 613 laws. But that doesn't make homosexuality be justified to be right just because it's not mentioned in the Ten Commandments. It's really 613 laws. That would be just like me saying, well, homosexuality is not mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 11, and it's not even in 11 and verse 32, so therefore it makes it right. No, just because he's not speaking there. See, the Most High was speaking direct in different areas. He spoke different things, but they still paralleled and complemented each other. They still was in agreement. Just because he spoke in certain places and he spoke a certain way, he had to speak different ways in order for the people to get the same message. He couldn't just put, don't sleep with homosexuals when he had to speak and he had to give more commandments, because what sense would it make for him is to say, well, it's only homosexuality is not in the Ten Commandments, but we still do know it's abomination, because all them other times he was speaking direct. At that time, that was a time he was just speaking, he spoke specifically. And there were times he spoke direct. You see what I'm saying? There are some things that he had to give them direct, because, and then you have to look at it like this too. The reason why you don't see homosexual written in the Ten Commandments, as you read in Exodus chapter 20, verse 1, is because he didn't speak everything. He didn't speak everything all at once in that time period. It's just like me doing a video. Just because I don't mention certain things, even though they're in the Bible, if I don't mention it in this video, that doesn't make it less important. It just means that some information, some people don't be ready for. That's why he spoke certain things at that time period. But it didn't mean, just like the New Testament, the Old Testament was already, the New Testament still exists. It just wasn't ever written yet. You see what I'm saying? That's the way you have to look at it. The New Testament wasn't written, but the New Testament was still in existence. It just wasn't written yet. You see what I'm saying? If I go to the store and I got 12 or 13 items to get, that's what I got. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that I haven't went and bought the stuff yet. So when you look in Exodus chapter 20, and you don't see the commandments written in Exodus chapter 20, if you don't see, if you don't see thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind and all that kind of stuff. Just because you don't see it directly in the commandments at that time period, it didn't make it less important. It didn't make it be wrong. Just because you don't see the law of clean and unclean right there in the Ten Commandments, it doesn't make it okay to just eat it now. You see what I'm saying? Just because there were certain things that I didn't mention in my video doesn't make it wrong or doesn't make it accurate because I had forgot to mention it, or either I just didn't mention it at that time. It was just for me to give you that information at that moment and at that time. You see what I'm saying? So that's what people need to understand. So I got to find that scripture in the Bible. I think I'm gonna do it, but a lot of people they don't. If the Most High tell them is to follow the commandments, they are going to be like, well, that was in the Old Testament. We're not under that law no more. But if you tell them, I met a prophet about 2 weeks ago, and he told me I was going to have all these blessings, guess what they're not going to do? The person is not going to take a second thought. Number two, they're not going to argue you. They're not going to do none of that. They're going to literally accept what you say and be like, really? Show me where he at. Because you thinking about you poor. You want somebody to so-called prophesy to you and tell you something. You see what I'm saying? You want them to tell you something. So, of course, you're not going to turn nothing down when you wants to be fed physically. But you don't care whether they're telling you a lie. You just want to hear something because that's what we're accustomed to listening to. So let's look at Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 1. And Nadab and Abihu and the sons of Aaron took either of them his censer and put fire thereon and put incenses thereon and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. See what I'm saying? See, they did not do what he said do. They wanted to do their own thing. This is what people are doing today. When you tell them, beware of false prophets, they're going to argue you down because it's too much like right. They don't want to hear that because you're taking away their pleasure. They're like, you messing with my taste. You messing with what makes me feel good. That's my pleasure. You taking away my pleasure. No, because they are busy. It doesn't justify what they like doing. You see what I'm saying? And that's why the Most High said, hearken to me and listen to me. Hearken to him means listen to the word. That's what it means. And this is what people want to do. So at that time, the Lord said unto me, hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me unto the mountain, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first table, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I will make an ark of shechem wood, and hew 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up unto the mountain, having the 2 tables in my hand. And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments, which the Lord spoke unto you in the mountain out of the midst of the fire, in the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them unto me. So during this time, now they'll say, now see that? Homosexuality is not mentioned in here. Homosexuality is not mentioned, and eating unclean and clean foods is not mentioned in Exodus chapter 20. He couldn't give everything at one time, but it doesn't make it inaccurate because he didn't mention it at the time that people expect for it to be written to them. You see what I'm saying? So let's look at I think that's First Samuel. Your hustle. Let's find out about your hustle. Uh, y'all know that the Israelites were sold into slavery, right? Let's look at 1 Samuel chapter 14. Make sure I'm getting it right. 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 1. It came upon the day that Jonathan, the son of Saul. Now see, Jonathan, David, Jonathan's son, Saul was jealous of David. Okay, he said, now it came to pass upon that day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said unto the young men that bears his armor, come and let us go over to the Philistine. Those are like the African people. And let us go over to the Philistines and garrison that is on the other side. But he told not his father. And Saul tarried in the uttermost parts of Gibeon under a pomegranate tree. That's like a fruit tree, like herbs, like juice, pomegranate, and which is in Magrod. And the people that were with him were about 600 men. And Ahiah, the son of Ahiah, Ahiah, Ahiatab, Ichabod, Achaba, Ichabod's brother. Now, the word Ichabod was a word that in 1 Samuel, where Ahiah, Ahiah, the son of Ahiatub, Ichabod, his brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Lord's priest in Shiloh. Shiloh represents the presence of the Most High, wearing an ephod, and the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. And between the passage by which Jonathan sought to go over unto the Philistines garrisons, and there was a sharp rock on the one side and a sharp rock on the other side. And the name of the one was Boaz, and the name of the other Sinah. Sina. The forefront of the one was settled northward over against Mac Macdash, Micaiahmash, Micmash, and the other southward over against Gibeon, Gilboa. Oh, these some funny words, man. Now, this was all about war. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come back to this in, but there was a part that I'm gonna read to y'all. And remember, we're still talking about people following the ways of the Israelites. They didn't want to follow the real. They didn't want to follow. They wanted to follow into the ways of Esau. I put it that way. That's what they wanted. They didn't want truth. They didn't want a real true king ruling over them. Just like the so-called spiritual Israel today, which are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You try to tell them what they should be doing. You tell them that they are the real Jew. You tell them that you are the only chosen people, and all the other nation wasn't chosen over you. I don't believe that. That's what they tell you. Do you know that the Most High did not even want the Philistines just to carry the ark of the Most High? The only people that was allowed to do that was only the priests who was sacred. I think David was the only one that could do it. Let's look at this right here. And the ark of the Lord, 1 Samuel chapter 61. And the ark of the Lord. Now, for those of you who don't know what the ark of God is, the ark is the symbolic of his presence. And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines, it says 7 months. And the Philistines called for the priests and the divers, saying, what shall we do to the ark of the Lord? Tell us wherewith we shall send it to his place. And they said, if we send away the ark of God of Israel, send it not empty, but in any wise return him a trespass offering. Then ye shall be healed, and it shall be known to you why his hand is not removed from you. Then said, what shall be the trespass offering, which we shall return to him? They answered, 5 golden emeralds, and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines. For one plague was on you all and on your lords. Okay, therefore ye shall make an image of your emeralds, an image of your mice that mar the land, and ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel. Peradventure, he will lighten his hand from off you, from off your gods, and from off your land. Therefore, then do ye harden your hearts as the Egyptians, and Pharaoh hardened their hearts when he had wrought wonderfully amongst them. Did they not let the people go? And they departed. Now, therefore, make a new cart and take 2 mice, knife, on which there had came no yoke, and tie the cart. Tie the kite to the cart, and bring their calves home from them, and the ark of the Lord, and take the ark of the Lord and lay it upon the carton, and put the let's see here, and put the jewels of gold which ye return him for a trespass offering, and offer by the side thereof, and send it away that it may go. Okay. Let's see. I don't think I want to read. Hold on. And see in verse 9, and see if it goes up by the way of his own coast to Bet Shemesh. Then he had done. Then he had done us this great evil. But if not, then we shall know that it is not his hand that smote us. It was a chance that happened to us. See, the Philistines were, let's look at, I know it's going to be a pretty long video. Let's look at 1 Samuel chapter 4 and verses 17. And the messengers answered and said, Israel is fleed before the Philistine. And there had been also a great slaughter amongst the people. And thy two sons also, Hophaniah and Phinehas, Hophaz, and Hophaniah and Phinehas are dead, and the ark of God is taken. Okay. And it came to pass when he made mention of the ark of God that he fell from off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and and his neck brake, and he died, for he was an old man and heavy, and he had judged Israel 40 years. Okay, it says, and it came to pass when Phinehas or Hophaniah and Phinehas are dead, and the ark of God is taken. Okay, now I'm gonna skip down to verse 19. And his daughter-in-law, Phinehas' wife, was with child, near to be delivered. And when she heard the tidings that the ark of God was taken, and that her father-in-law had and her husband were dead, she bowed herself and travailed, for her pains came upon her. All right. Now let me get to the bottom of this here. I tell you what, let me go ahead and read verses 20 and just and about the time of her death, the woman that stood by her said unto her, Fear not, for thou hast bore a son. But she answered not, neither did she regard it. And she named the child Ichabod, saying, The glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband. And she said, the glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. Okay, now this is when Israel, all these are symbols and signs of how our name, our culture, and everything was stripped from us. And Israel, this is where the spiritual Israel is at right now, as us. We're in a docile state of mind. When the Most High's glory and His Spirit is not upon you, and you start joining yourself to these other idols, then you'll begin to see why that people call the Israelites. Now, once the glory was departed from Israel, then that's when they went to taking on these strange identities and stuff. That's why he said that Israel will become a astonishment and a proverb and a byword, mainly astonishment amongst all the other nations, because all the other nations will look at Israel and they will be known for those signs. Let's look at, let's get that right quick. Let's get that, let's get it. Okay, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment. You know what that is, huh? See, remember what I just read over here. It says, and she named the child Ichabod, saying, the glory is departed from Israel, because the ark of God was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband. And she said, the glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. See that? Now, when the glory was departed from Israel, I know I'm in the Old, it's in the New Testament as well, too. When the glory is departed from Israel, the 12 tribes, this is what a lot of people, and I want to clear up that thing what people be talking about. You can remember now, when the glory is departed from Israel, I want y'all to understand something here. All right. Before the glory gets departed from Israel, look what the Bible says. Only if our true identity is not taken. Before our true identity was stolen by the so-called white man, look at how we was in order. And the swine, though he divided the hoof and be clothed footed, and yet cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. And of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean unto you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever has fins and scales in the waters and the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And that's what they was doing. They was obeying those commandments. But look, something happened. Let's look at Leviticus chapter let's look at Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 8. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I commanded you this day, that ye may be strong and go in and possess the land, whether ye go to possess it, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that flows with milk and honey. See how I'm showing you the proof and the evidence? This is what people supposed to be doing, man. And then look what it says over here in Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Now, it says to fear him. How do you fear him and serve him? By doing what he says, by not putting unclean things in your temples. That's one of them. You see what I'm saying? Let me show you the contract that they made an agreement, or they made a contract, is to actually say, we're gonna do that. We're gonna follow, we're gonna obey you. All right. Okay, hold on. Exodus 19 and verses 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptian, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. That means protected you. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, how do you obey his voice? By not listening to the word, by not eating unclean foods. Now, therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. Israel is better than everybody else. For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and said, and laid before their face all these words which the Lord commanded him. And listen to this, and all the people answered, talking about all Israel, and all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord has spoken we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. So they made a contract with him, with the Most High, but they broke it. And the reason why This is the reason why the Most High sent our enemies against us. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. Because they broke their contract. Let's look at Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all, now notice it said all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city. Cursed shall thou be, wait a minute, cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in thy field. And cursed shall be thy basket in thy store. That means you go in the store and you spend $200 thinking you're buying $200 worth of grocery, and you get home and realize the little grocery you got, it don't even last you very long. That's what it means. That's why I say cursed be your basket. So cursed shall be thy basket in thy storehouse. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. And it just goes on. This is talking about Israel. That's right. So right here, the Most High said, and she named the child Ichabod, saying, the glory is departed from Israel. This is 1 Samuel chapter 4 and verse 21. 1 Samuel chapter 4 and verse 21. Because the ark of God was taken because of her father-in-law and her husband. And she said, the glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken. The ark means his presence, his spirit. The ark of God is the spirit. The spirit, the spirit of the Most High is nothing but his presence. The voice of God is, when he say hearken to the voice, it's not talking about a literal voice speaking to you. Oh, I heard the Spirit spoke to me. No, he speaks to you through his word. Listen to his voice. Listen to his words being read to you. That's what he means by his voice. That's his voice. If you don't listen, you're going to get all kinds of sickness. We will. We will get all kinds of sicknesses and stuff upon us. Did y'all know that the Most High is a man of war? God is not all loving. He's not all loving. God kills and he make alive. Let's look at that. Exodus 15 and verse 3. Exodus 15 verse 3. Look what it said. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. So, do y'all know that the so-called white man is the enemy to us as an Israelites? Yep. So, y'all can see pretty much that Israel is the nation, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. Now, I forgot what that word meant, Ashdod. It must have been some kind of, I don't know. I can find out. I know what it is, but I don't want to guess it. I have a general idea, but I don't want to guess. I think Ashdod must have been some kind of city, or I don't know, some kind of place. But it's good to know what that means. Hold on a second. What does Ashdod mean according to the Bible? What does Ashdod mean in the Bible? Upon Joshua's conquerors, the conquest of the conquerors of the promised land, Ashdod was allotted to the tribe of Judah. The book of Joshua, 15:46. Ashdod is mentioned amongst the principals, the Philistine cities, after capturing the Ark of the Covenant from the Israelites. The Philistines took it to Ashdod and placed it in the temple of Dog. Oh, okay. So that's what I think that's what this is trying to say. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it unto the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. And when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. And they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the hand of the Dagon and both the palms of his hand, both the palms of his hand, were cut off upon the threshold only. The stamp of Dagon was left to him. Therefore, neither the priests of Dagon nor any that came unto Dagon's house trade on the threshold of Dagon and Ashdod unto this day. So it's basically talking about after capturing the Ark of the Covenant from the Israelites, the Philistines took it to Ashdod and placed it in the temple of Dagon. But see, they couldn't do nothing with it. They try. See, that's the thing. You have to understand, people. Get this. This is a revelation. See, your enemies is trying to take and trying to monopolize everything about Christ. Remember now about God, our real God. Remember how they tried to give a white Jesus. That's why the Philistines, all these other nations, is the one that came against Israel. And they said the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it to Ashdod because they don't want. This is the real identity. All throughout the Bible, we can see that our real identity is they trying to, our enemies don't want us to have our real identity. Our real enemy do not want us to have our real identity. Let me show you further. Let me show you now the Philistines, they did that. They took the ark of the Most High God and brought it to Ashdod. Now they brought it to Ashdod. It was a bad purpose. It wasn't for their good. It was not for their good, people. It was not for their good. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to wake my people up to let them know that the Philistines are nobody but the enemies of the African people. The Hagarenes, the Africans. Ham, all of those people in the Bible. The Chinese, the Moabites. The Moabites are the Chinese people. Japanese people. Look what this says here. And I want y'all to continue to keep reading this here. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, the ark of God of Israel shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us, and his hand is sore upon us, and upon Dagon our God. They sent therefore and gathered all of the lords of the Philistines unto them. Let me read that again. 1 Samuel chapter 5 and verse 8. They sent therefore and gathered all of the lords of the Philistines unto them and said, what shall we do with the ark of God of Israel? And they answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gad. And they carried the ark of God of Israel about hither. They say, let it be brought to Gad. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great. And they had emeralds in their secret parts. Therefore, they sent the ark of God to Ekron. Then they sent it to Ekron, because afterward they sent the ark of God to Gad. They sent the Philistines sent it to Ashdod. Then they from Ashdod they sent it to Gad. And it was so after that they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had emeralds in their secret parts. Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron. This video is going to be only for biblical educational purposes, only for my people of color. So that's what I named. This video is only for biblical education for my people of color. Therefore, they sent the ark of God to Ekron, and it came to pass as the ark of God came to Ekron, that Ekron cried out, saying, they have brought about the ark of the God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. So they sent and gathered together all of the lords of the Philistines and said, send away the ark of God of Israel and let it go again to his own place, that it slay us not and our people. For there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there. And the man that died not were smitten with and the men that died not were smitten with the emeralds. And the city and the cry of the city went up to heaven. And okay, in verse 6, and the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. Okay, that's where I'm not going. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back off camera and I'm gonna read this chapter again. And where it talks about, and the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod, and all of that. And then after it said, and then they sent therefore and gathered all of the lords of the Philistines unto them, and said, what shall we do with the ark of God of Israel? And they answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about unto Gad. And they carried the ark of God of Israel about hither. Okay, therefore, neither the priests of Dagon nor any that came unto Dagon's house trade on the threshold of Dagon and Ashdod unto this day. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emeralds, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. Even Ash, and he smote them with emeralds, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. Okay, and then they took the ark of God to Gad. Ebenezer, Ashdod, then they brought it down to Gad. From Dagon to Ashdod to Gad. That's what they did. So the moral of this whole thing is only the presence of the Most High God is only with Israel. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to keep the video out too long. Hold on, let me make sure this tablet is up here. I'm gonna drink me some water. Oh, I was thirsty, y'all. You have to drink the water. Your body needs that. So this video is only for biblical educational purposes, only for my people of color. That's what I name. So I'm gonna see y'all later, and I'll come back and put a title in there eventually. All right. Peace and love to my people of color. I'm out.